Herb Chambers wanted to buy a Cadillac, but he wasn't happy with the treatment he was getting, so he bought the dealership instead.
Yeah, and that ended up becoming a bit of a trend. Today, the Chambers Auto Group does more than $2 billion worth of business at 55 locations. Not bad for a car lover from Dorchester. If there's one guy who knows how to get around, it is Herb Chambers. On this day, his preferred mode of transportation is his personal helicopter. He also has a private jet and has owned a string of mammoth yachts. But what he's really known for is cars. Tens of thousands of cars sold over the past 3 decades. Herb Chambers sells cars almost as quickly as he buys dealerships.
We have 55 franchises. Last year we did $2.5 billion worth of business. We are ranked about the, I'm going to say the 10th or 11th largest dealer in the country.
Wow. That passion was nurtured on the humble streets of Dorchester, growing up in the 1950s.
Growing up in Dorchester, anybody that had a new car, I thought was rich. I mean, the people across the street got a new Ford in 1955, and I thought that was like the most amazing thing. And then down the street, another block or two away, somebody got a new Thunderbird, and I couldn't believe that.
Chambers says his first car crush, a 1953 Buick Skylark convertible, on display at a local dealership.
I would ride my bike down every day after school and look at this Buick Skylark. And after about 6 weeks of doing this, it was gone. And I was like crushed. I went and asked the people, I said, what did you do with that car? And they said, we sold it. And I went, you sold it? And I couldn't, not understanding that that's what they're there for.
It's hard to imagine this empire was built by a man who never graduated high school. Chambers did 4 years in the Navy, made his first fortune in the photocopy business before buying his first dealership in New London, Connecticut.
I walked in there and the place was awful. It had to be one of the worst looking Cadillac dealerships you could ever imagine. The salespeople were terrible, the facility was terrible. They totally mistreated me as a customer.
Chambers knew he could do better. Within an hour, he made an offer to buy the place. The rest is automotive history.
I meet with our sales force every single month, and I spend 2 to 3 hours with them, telling them how I want our customers treated. Now, I've been doing that for 20 years, and some of these people have been there for 20 years, and they go, oh my God, I've got to go to another meeting with Herb today.
And how many cars have you sold? Do you have any idea?
Personally?
Personally.
None.
He hasn't sold cars, but he has driven close to every make and model ever built. He shares that passion one Saturday every month, spring through fall, in an event he calls Cars and Coffee, featuring antique, classic, and exotic cars, many from his private collection, which he keeps at his home in Old Lyme, Connecticut. We were able to visit Herb and this unique fleet a few years back. Chambers admits that in general, cars are not a good investment. With one exception, he says, this 1995 Mclaren, which has a 627 horsepower engine and a top speed of 240 miles per hour.
That car I bought about 15 years ago, or 20 years ago. I paid $1 million for it when I bought it. And that was like the end of the world. And somebody said, this car will someday be worth $3 million. Well, they were totally wrong. The car is worth about $14 million. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Cozy, cozy. Herb Chambers is not shy about admitting he is an exceedingly wealthy man. But he says that is not what he set out to do.
A lot of people think that you're in business to make money. And I never was. It sounds crazy. People that worry about becoming rich never do. If you worry about trying to be the best at what you do, you can become rich that way. This is far beyond anything I ever dreamed of. And every day I have to pinch myself and say, is this really real?
Unreal. And back to that McLaren, new tires for that car cost $12,000. And oil change is $8,000.
Come on.
Annual running costs are about $30,000. Herb says he's actually thinking about selling that car now.
Come on.
Just saying. And if you're in the market.
Next, in Ad Woman's favorite ad.